Chapter 2. A Girl Named Eliza. Eliza was 10, with long blonde hair worn in plaits, messy wisps forever wriggling free of her mother's careful hands. She loved Bramble, her flame-haired cat, fiercely, and asking questions only slightly less. A true lover of nature, she was often found barefoot in the garden, crouched to admire the dew on a spider's web, or tracing the veins of a leaf as though it held a secret worth discovering. She carried a stubborn, fiery streak too, though it was softened by a kindness that had always seemed part of her. And so, when the morning sun spilled gold across Hollowmere that Saturday morning, Eliza Ashden padded along the garden path, her satchel bouncing on her shoulder, excited to visit the woods behind the great oak. Something made her stop. Not a sound, exactly. More a feeling, like the village was holding its breath. She frowned, paused at the gate. On the garden wall sat Bramble, tail curled and amber eyes bright, as though he had been waiting just for her. "Morning, Bramble," she whispered, her voice soft. A shiver ran through her, though the day was warm. She wasn't sure if it was the breeze or something else, something unseen, but the sight of him there felt strange yet comforting. Eliza crouched a little to meet his golden gaze. Bramble blinked slowly as though acknowledging her greeting and twitched his whiskers. Something in his expression made her pause, a feeling she couldn't name. "I'm going to the oak tree," she murmured, as if telling him a secret. "It's such a sunny Saturday, I thought I'd enjoy it." Bramble's tail flicked once, almost imperceptibly, and his ears twitched. Eliza's eyes wandered across the village, toward the gentle rise at the edge of the woods and the great oak that stood on top. She stroked Bramble's long flame fur, then straightened and wandered off, boots tapping lightly on the cobbles. From the shadows of alleyways and gardens, Bramble followed Eliza, padding softly and keeping just out of sight. His tail curled with a slight twitch of unease. She was small, and though Hollowmere looked peaceful, he knew the world was rarely as quiet as it seemed. By the time Eliza reached the hill at the village's edge, the oak loomed above her, magnificent and still. She stopped for a moment, taking in its broad trunk and the way its branches stretched wide, as if sheltering the hilltop and the village below. As she walked up the well-trodden path to the top of the hill, and there she saw him, sitting beneath the oak, tail curled neatly around his paws, was Bramble. Eliza blinked in surprise. "Bramble! You're here?" she whispered. She had thought he would be back at the garden wall at home. Bramble's amber eyes met hers, calm and knowing, and he gave a slow, measured blink. He had been waiting quietly for her arrival. Eliza bent to stroke his fur, but even as she did, the air changed. The breeze stirred with a strange sigh, carrying the scent of moss, earth, and something sharper, like iron. The oak's roots seemed to shift beneath the leaves, and a shadow slithered across the ground where no branch moved. Bramble stiffened, fur rising, his golden eyes narrowing. A low, warning growl rumbled in his throat. "Eliza!" She thought she heard her name carried in the wind, faint and distant, as though whispered through the hollow of the oak itself. Her breath caught. She took a step back, but the shadow moved with her, stretching, reaching, as if it meant to catch hold of her boots. She froze, her heart hammering. The whispering from the branches thickened, curling around her name. "Bramble?" she whispered, her voice cracking. The cat sprang forward, brushing urgently against her legs. His body pressed hard against her shins, pushing, not guiding, but forcing her toward the roots of the oak. She stumbled back in surprise, feet tangling on the uneven ground, and then she saw it. "No," Eliza whispered, shaking her head, but Bramble growled deep in his chest, muscles taut. He gave one last push, fierce and unrelenting, and Eliza toppled into the gap with a startled cry. The oak swallowed her whole. In the same instant, Bramble leapt after her, his flame-coloured fur vanishing into the shimmer. Then, silence. The roots closed. The shadows melted back into stillness. The great oak stood alone on the hill, leaves trembling faintly as though stirred by some secret wind. For a heartbeat, the faintest sparkles drifted in the air around its trunk, then faded, leaving nothing at all. Hollowmere exhaled. The forest was still,